Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome back, Focus learners, to another explainer. Today, we're unpacking a methodology that promises to, well, completely master your productivity and elevate your daily life. We're looking at the core principles drawn from Robin Sharma's massively popular framework, the 5 a.m. Club. Let's be honest for a second here. For most of us, the mere thought of waking up at 5 a.m. sounds completely unappealing, right? Given the choice, you'd probably much rather spend a little more time cozy in bed than force yourself to stumble out from under the covers before the sun is even up. But ask yourself this: what if waking at 5 a.m. was the actual key to your success? The source material frames this whole methodology around a really interesting anecdote. It's about a billionaire who decides to mentor a struggling artist and a frustrated entrepreneur. And the very first thing this billionaire teaches them to help turn their lives around: the absolute non-negotiable importance of winning the morning. But here's the thing, just setting your alarm and staring at the ceiling, that does absolutely nothing for you. Waking up at 5 a.m. is practically useless if you're just going to waste time mindlessly scrolling on your phone until 7 or 8 a.m. And that is exactly where the victory hour comes in. It's a meticulously planned structure for that specific 60-minute window between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. The core premise we're unpacking today is that if you can nail this specific hour with a targeted framework, everything else in your day has a much, much easier time falling perfectly into place. And this brilliantly illustrates the framework that breaks this hour down. It's called the 20-20-20 structure. So instead of a chaotic, groggy morning, you divide that precious 60-minute victory hour into 3 equal, highly focused 20-minute phases. Literally, 1/3 of the time is to move, 1/3 is to reflect, and 1/3 is to learn. It's a super clean, logical flow. Let's break down exactly what each of these pockets actually looks like in practice. Okay, so right when that alarm goes off, from 5 to 5:20 a.m., you enter pocket 1, which is move. Notice it doesn't say drink coffee or check emails. You literally have to move no matter how much you want to hit snooze. This could be a quick cardio workout, maybe some brisk yoga, or hitting the weights. The physiological goal here is immediate and intentional. Get your heart rate up, break a real sweat, and trigger your body to release cortisol right upon waking. According to the framework, this burst of morning exercise basically snaps your brain out of sleep and into the absolute perfect cognitive state for the rest of the day. Once you've sweated out, you immediately shift gears from physical exertion to inner stillness. So from 5:20 to 5:40 a.m., you're in pocket 2. Reflect. This 20-minute block is entirely dedicated to focusing and thinking clearly. You might write down what you need to accomplish that day, journal about anything that's troubling you just to get it out of your head, or maybe simply practice meditation. It's all about grounding yourself and building clarity before the noise of the outside world creeps in. Finally, we hit the last 20 minutes of the victory hour, from 5:40 to 6 a.m. This is pocket 3, learn. Now that your body is physically primed and your mind is emotionally clear, it's time to focus entirely on intellectual growth and stimulating your curiosity. Kick your brain into high gear by reading a few pages of a great book, listening to an educational podcast, or studying a completely new topic that currently interests you. Think about it. By 6 a.m., you've already exercised, centered your mind, and learned something new, all while most people are literally still asleep. So the crucial point is that this isn't meant to destroy your health or trap you in some rigid dogma. There's a massive caveat here that the author makes very, very clear. First off, you absolutely cannot burn the candle at both ends. Waking up at 5 a.m. requires looking closely at your evening routine to ensure you're still getting a solid 6 to 8 hours of sleep, because without that rest, the whole system just falls apart. Second, the 20-20-20 split, it's really just a starting point. It's fully customizable. If you thrive on, say, 30 minutes of exercise and only need 10 minutes of reflection, do that. You got to tailor this routine to fit your unique personality so it actually sticks. And speaking of making it stick, let's look at what the author calls the habit protocol. To really ground the sometimes abstract concept of building a strict routine, Sharma uses this incredibly vivid metaphor: the Taj Mahal. I mean, this beautiful historical masterpiece wasn't built overnight, right? It took 20 years to complete. Habit creation and cultivation is exactly the same. It is a long-term practice. You're essentially building your own personal masterpiece with your mornings, and it requires real patience to see the final structure emerge. Now, to build that masterpiece, you need 2 distinct tools. On one side, you have willpower. Willpower is that initial spark, the raw mental force required to start the habit when it feels, frankly, deeply uncomfortable, like jumping out of a warm bed at 5 a.m. on day 1. But willpower drains quickly. So, on the other side, you need consistency. Consistency is what takes over to make the habit automatic over time. If you keep showing up, eventually that grueling 5 a.m. wake up just becomes a natural, automatic process. You literally don't even have to think about it anymore. Okay, let's zoom out from that single morning hour to your macro daily view. The source material outlines what are called the 4 focuses. The claim here is that highly successful people don't just focus better than average people, they systematically focus their energy on these 4 very specific key areas. We're talking capitalization focus, eliminating distractions, personal mastery, and day stacking. Let's walk through what these actually mean for how you structure your day. Focus 1 and 2 really go hand in hand. Focus 1 is the capitalization focus. This means actively searching for and cultivating the natural gifts you were born with. Because, your talents won't capitalize on themselves. You have to put in the deliberate work to unlock them. But to do that effectively, you absolutely need Focus 2, eliminating distractions. In our modern world, unless you carefully set your smartphone, it's going to buzz with notifications constantly. Successful people actively turn off the endless buzz of social media so they can actually concentrate on their unique talents. Let's move to and see how this builds into focus number 3, personal mastery. Because the reality is, none of us are perfect. We're all constantly a work in progress. The methodology recommends achieving personal mastery by tending to what it calls the 4 interior empires. First is mindset, which is your internal self-talk. Next is heart set, which is how you process and manage your emotions. Then health set, maintaining your physical fitness. And finally, soul set, taking time for deep contemplation and meditation on who you truly are. Nurturing these 4 empires builds an unshakable foundation for success. Which brings us to the 4th focus, day stacking. And this is where we fully connect the micro back to the macro. This is exactly where your 5 a.m. victory hour really pays off. Day stacking is the concept of focusing purely on creating one great day and then making the next day just a tiny bit better. You consciously stack these successful daily routines on top of one another. Lifelong success doesn't come from bursts of short-lived motivation. It comes from the relentless consistency of stacking great day after great day. To help you stack those days, the methodology provides 10 tactics for lifelong genius. Let's punch through these quickly. Number 1, create a tight bubble of focus, a totally distraction-free workspace. Number 2, the 90-90-1 rule. For 90 days, spend the first 90 minutes of your workday on your single most important project. Number 3, the 60-10 method. Work in intense 60-minute chunks followed by a 10-minute break. Number 4, the daily 5. Write down and cross off 5 daily goals. Number 5, grab a second wind workout, like a brisk walk after your workday ends. Number 6, schedule 2 fun activities or massages a week to recharge. Number 7, turn your commute into traffic university with educational podcasts. Number 8, build a dream team to delegate tasks that don't need your specific attention. Number 9, use Sunday for a weekly design system to plan your week ahead. And finally, number 10, commit to 60 minutes of daily learning to keep your brain sharp and growing. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly everything we've just covered is encapsulated by this philosophy from Robin Sharma. He says, take excellent care of the front end of your day, and the rest of the day will pretty much take care of itself. Own your morning, elevate your life. It summarizes the overarching methodology so cleanly and powerfully. If you take proactive control of those first quiet hours before the rest of the world wakes up, you establish a momentum of productivity and clarity that carries you effortlessly through whatever challenges the rest of your day throws at you. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I really want to leave you with this question. How will you customize your victory hour? We've seen the 20-20-20 framework of moving, reflecting, and learning. We know it requires getting to bed on time, and we know it takes consistency to build that Taj Mahal of a daily habit. But the real power comes when you apply this directly to your own busy life. So what does your perfect 5 a.m. actually look like? Take these insights, craft your own morning routine, and see what happens when you decide to truly own your morning. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.